Hey, good morning. Lindsay, you there? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm gonna start
Lindsay, you there?
blacklisting autopilots that are not ours, David.
I know, right?
There
There
you are.
she is.
Where are you on vacation?
No, I'm at Realm. Look.
All realm, right?
I
Nice.
mean, you're
Nice.
beautiful guys, but it's so cool here.
Well, Lindsay, no one else is here, and if no one else shows up, this could become like just like a one-on-one coaching session for you.
Really? There's 9. Are they all otters?
They're all fucking autopilots. Oh Jesus.
Oh, delete that. Mute.
Yeah. Delete. Okay. Well, anyhow, what's new?
Um, let's see. I'm here now. I'm going home, and my goal when I go home is to quickly finish my office space because I've been working out of it, and it's like a shell. I didn't even get my printer yet because I've just been so busy. But I'll tell you, in between being at Bridge and being here, so it was like a week at home. I think I had 4 listing presentations, and I put 3 things on the market. So we've been busy.
Busy,
And
yeah,
you've
it's
been doing
great.
great with off-market properties.
Yeah, I closed that. So it's what, almost 18 million in market share, which is
Wow,
fantastic. Yeah.
good for you.
One of the things that you want to do is build out in your presentation, right? Like your buyer's presentation, things that you send people, like an off-market case study,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because um, one of the things that look who
Hey
it is.
there.
Are you on with her?
Yeah, well, it's just
Well,
on our call.
I want to be on the
Well,
call.
sit down.
sit down.
Have you seen this view?
Yeah, we just saw it. Looks great.
I know.
This is crazy. It's like 2 of my favorite people in one
I
place.
know. We were just talking about yesterday on the cab ride here how much you are our favorite,
Yeah.
and we miss you.
Well, this is actually a very relevant conversation for you. I miss you guys all too.
I heard buyer presentation.
Exactly.
What yours
Um,
per?
So one of the things that both of you do really well is like off-market properties, right? So, it's when people are asking about looking around or what makes you different or any of these other various gateways, one of the things, a great question is, are you only looking for properties that are on the market? And Gretchen, what is it, like 1 out of every 4 houses you sell is an off-market property?
1 out of 5, she said.
1 out of 5, close.
Mm.
So one of the things that you want to focus on, remember I always say like a great thing is clear, concise, and quantifiable. So when you have a house, and I could help you map this out and like tell the whole story of it with a testimonial, now you've taken a concept that's just like an idea in people's minds and actually brought it to life through people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Huh? We call it creating opportunities.
Yeah.
Creating communities. Yeah.
So even creating opportunities, I think, Gretchen, even for you, as I'm talking about this, right? Getting like an entire like little flip book, and Lindsay, you could build this out now, of all off-market case studies, kind of like, here was the challenge, here's what were some of the obstacles we faced, here's what we did, and here's what the solution was. And if you have so many of them, Lindsay's starting to build them up. If a buyer says, what makes you different? It says, I would just literally ask them, are you only looking for homes online that everyone else is competing over? And they're going to say, what do you mean? And then for you, Gretchen, I would just slide my book across the table and be like, look, these are the opportunities we create for other people. Would you like to have one of them too? And that's literally, there's your whole, you could do your whole buyer presentation in like 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. That's a good,
Really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going on your buddy, I'm going on Jimmy's buddy's podcast thing, whatever, at the end of May, the conversation code or conversion code
Conversion code?
with Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had reached out. He's like, do you want to be the guest lecturer this month? I was like, if we really like talk shop and talk shit, I'm like, I'm in.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, he's kind of coming back around, Chris.
Yeah.
Who is he?
Chris Smith.
No,
Yeah. Who else is on this call?
just
Thomas. Thomas, you here?
No.
It's weird.
Hey,
I think a lot of people are traveling because normally there's a good turnout for these calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Thomas. And I
How's
wonder
it
how many
going?
people are at Realm. Have you seen a lot of people at Realm, you know?
Yeah.
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 there's a lot of people here and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. And last night was the big night for this crew.
I was back in the room before Gretchen.
I was only like 10 minutes after her.
Lindsay's normally like a late night trooper.
You know what she told me yesterday? She was like, you make me want to be good. I was like, oh, this is probably a good travel partnership.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
Be responsible for a change.
seriously, yeah.
Look, I think that's a really important part, right? Because here's the thing, the world of real estate operates on one principle. You know what that is, Lindsay? Crisis care. So Gretchen has been planning for the NAR thing. I think we've been doing this for like a year and a half. The majority of agents aren't going to do anything till the end of July, beginning of August, and they're just not going to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's going to be painful.
I've been trying to have that conversation. I haven't figured out my my shtick yet.
I
Does that make
shared
sense?
my buyer pitch deck with Lindsay, and she shared her kind of like her, buyer like the timeline for what a buyer goes through. So I think I'm going to take some pieces of what she has and put them in. There's a couple pages I want to add to my buyer pitch deck. One of which is like a roadmap for the buyer process, which I think she's got down. And then I want to add like the emotional roller coaster of buying a house, but we're doing it with emojis. Would that kind of make it like really
Oh, I love
relevant?
that.
Like, here's what it feels like when you're getting pre-qualified. Here's what it feels like when you're looking
That's
for
so
houses.
cool. I like that.
But it's like, the happy emoji and then the
Yeah,
celebration.
cute.
And then this is what it feels like when you go under contract. This is what it feels like the next day after you go under contract and you're like stressed and you got buyer's remorse a little bit. And then this is what it feels like when you get the inspection report with guns where you just want to bomb. You want to
Tiffany
drop a
crying.
bomb on the
Any
house
part of
and
this
crying.
You know what though, Gretchen? This is what would be really cool. Have you ever you should literally just start out. It's like, hey, it's Gretchen Cole. Have you ever wondered the emotional roller coaster a buyer goes through? And like, it's a video where it's just like the screen and the emojis come to life with the words, right? Like ping, ping. Like, and it takes the principles of like a children's cartoon, because Lindsay, like kids' cartoons, they change what's on the screen like every 30 seconds so that the kids are just engaged.
I love that.
But look, here's the big thing. If you want to know how to do the buyer process, Gretchen's process we've created, I have the whole process. Like I can tell you every last single detail. Just drive here one day and we'll sit here for an hour and we'll just do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I sent you my new buyer's guide. I texted to you.
I got it. Hey, Ben.
Where do I see more people?
Hello. Sorry,
Hey,
just
Ben.
looked crazy in the office. Forgot, just logged on.
Ben
How
and
are
Thomas
you?
are in the witness protection program with their black screens.
Yep. How's everybody doing?
Doing well, man. How's your dad
Couldn't be
doing?
better.
He passed away, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry to
Yeah.
hear that, Ben.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, no.
How are you doing?
Hanging in there. Yeah. In the office playing a lot of catch up.
Hmm.
When did he pass?
January 31st.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Ben.
Thank you. Yeah.
Aaron Buckbinder just lost his father.
Yeah. Last like two weeks ago.
Right.
He's down here with us.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a well-needed trip for him.
he's
Yeah.
he's a good dude. He actually just listed my mom's house in Florida.
Aw,
Did he? Yep.
nice.
Yep.
Sit there.
We'll see how good he really is.
Give him hell, Ben.
Give him hell. Ben's a detail-oriented stickler, so
Oh gosh.
No, he's legit. We have a tenant that's a pain in the ass that's moving out in June.
nice part about Florida is if they don't want to leave, they'll kick you out.
Pretty much, right?
It's not like New York. As Ron DeSantis says, this is not New York.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on.
All right, look, couple things right now that we have a few more people on here. We're just all kind of just generally catching up is, look, I think from my perspective, what I want all of us to start thinking about is the art of campaigning, right? So I've been spending a lot of time talking to people in groups and in many small conversations and with sales managers. is this concept of, all right, we all know our past clients are really important, right? But when you come into a world where you have to pay for fees and everything, I'm going to say, you know what, like you should use Ben. And the first question somebody's going to ask is, if you had to write Ben a check, would it have been worth it, right? So when you have people that you've orphaned that refer you, that will refer you or think of you, or somehow you're connected and you're not in touch with these people, they're going to get this. Well, you know, I'm not really sure. I don't remember. But if it's somebody that's like very active in your board and part of your community and so on, oh yeah, Lindsay's the best. She even, so what I want you to think about is how does this sentence go for you? And this is basically the experience you're going to create for somebody. Even after I was done working with Ben or Lindsay or Thomas or Gretchen, they still continue to do blank, 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 and blank, right? So if you think about it, this goes to Leonard's point of we get paid once for a lifetime of service.
Hopefully we
Right.
get more than once.
Yeah. But you know, with the average person, how long they stay in home now, it's kind of crazy.
Well, the good thing about our market is it's usually 5 to 7 years at most.
Well, now because there's some more of the things going on in your market, you should see a lot more movement.
Yeah, yeah. But we
So
usually touch people 3 to 4 times in a lifetime. You know, it's usually multiple sales with each person.
So that's what. So have you guys all gone through like what essentially experience mapping is?
No.
Okay. So this is, as you can see, all of these lovely papers. As Ben, you've been in here to this. Lindsay, we've done this in different locations. Thomas, I did this when I came to you and we mapped out the living La Cañada. You want to look at this and not leave any of these things to chance, right? I'll use Ben for an example in this. Like you could sit with Ben and he's like very organized, very tactical, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Then there's some of us that have all these ideas and we're trying to figure out, like, I have all these ideas, where's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? The one thing you do not want to leave to chance is this experience that your clients have before, during, and after, right? I'm assuming with considering based on like your production levels in your business, like your before and your during are great, right? But the question becomes this. Number one, how do you extend the relationship, right? Because when you're working together, it's a defined relationship, right? Like I know what my relationship with any of you are when we're working together. But then what happens after the closing, it's literally an exchange of keys, documents, information, some compensation. And all of a sudden, this weird thing happens where people don't know how to interact with each other. So like a date comes, one monumental event happens. Now people don't know how to communicate. Well, what do I say? I'm like, well, what have you been saying to these people for the last like 3 to 6 months? You guys talk about everything all the time, 3 to 4 times a week, right? And then all of a sudden the closing happens. I don't know what to do. What do I say? What do I talk to them about? I don't know. The same shit you talked to them about before. However, when you do that, it can create the appearance too that you did a lot of those things in some cases for a commission check, right? Because people that share this kind of information, especially the personal relationships and the personal information they share, it implies that there is a relationship there more than a transaction, right? If you're just hiring somebody for a service, you're going to go there, get the service, and you're going to leave. You're not going to share all this personal information. So number one, what I want to highlight to us to start out with is the point and how, does anyone know like a very purposeful way to extend a relationship past the closing?
I mean, you could set them up on a collection so they know what's going on in their building. You're saying like a good way to stay in touch with them?
So what I'm looking to share with you is a process. So think about this. All right, this is not the best example, but it's the only one that really makes sense. You have a group of friends, and it's a group of people that go out and they drink all the time, right? All of a sudden, there are 2 people in the friend group that have a bunch of wine, and you know they end up doing other stuff with each other, right? And then the next few times you hang out in the group, it's like really awkward because they're awkward, right? Has anyone ever experienced that? I think many of us have, right? Like, so what happens in that case is human beings, relationships are defined in one way. Now, these people have interacted under one set of pretenses as friends, for all this time now. A different event happened, kind of similar like a closing, right? And it's gone from defined to undefined. And that's where all the weirdness happens, right? So what you all want to do is redefine the relationship before it ends. And it's a really simple conversation. You wait till generally, I would say, clear to close. You want to get to a place where it's like the peak of happiness, like when they know the closing's going to happen, but also they still need you. You notice, like, if you look at your ability to get a review from a client during the before the transaction's over, it is much higher than if you wait till after and all of a sudden they're too busy. So what I would say is, hey, Lindsay, I just want to take an opportunity, and this is where listening and taking good notes is really important, to say, look, you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with you, both in finding a home, but also that you had shared blank and blank about your kids, your life, and that's something you really didn't have to do. And I'm going to be quiet. And they're going to say, oh, Chirag, it's great learning about you, your family, whatever it is they're going to say about you, because it's a two-way exchange of information, right? Don't your clients know a little bit all about your lives? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then the next thing is, these are my favorite words in sales. Would it be okay? Gives the person all the power, all the control. Would it be okay if I just continue to stay in touch with you? We like to just reach out once a month and be able to share a blank, insert your value proposition. We invite you to events. We share things that you can't find in Google. We also don't want you're new to the community. We don't want you looking for random strangers on Google. And it's just a way for us really just to extend the relationship. 95% of people will say, amazing, that's great. And now you have programmed them to expect your phone calls, your emails, your text messages, your invitations. The 5% that are introverted, accounting, financing, numbers people, they're going to say no. And you want to know why? You should not have your feelings hurt. You just should thank that person, because they will continue to refer you, but they don't want all your stuff. And by you just putting them on an action plan and all this stuff, you're just going to piss them off.
Yeah.
So you want to, like, when you start mapping this out, you extend the relationship. Then what happens at closing? What happens a week? What happens 2 weeks? What happens 30, 60? Like, you want to map this all out, right? And then you want to start looking at, well, what are all the various ways I can communicate with people? Text message, video, email, newsletter, events, coffees, dinners, and start understanding, based on your relationship at the closing, how you want to engage with this person, right? Like, if I was meeting, I would say Ben, right? Like, based on our relationship, right? If I wanted to jam out with Ben, I'd say, hey, Ben, let's go grab a workout at Equinox and get some coffee and, like, talk some shop, talk some life, talk some dad. And he'd be happy with that, right? If I was meeting Lindsay, I would say, hey, Lindsay, let's just go grab a drink and some appetizers and let's just shoot the shit. And she'd be like, great, right? If I was meeting Thomas loves basketball and coaches basketball, I'd be like, hey, let's grab a drink and, like, let's watch a game. And he'd be like, all right, cool, right? So it's like understanding how these touch points work, right? We're not doing 150 deal volume business where all of these relationships we're going to want to curate the same way, right? So you're going to have to identify, once somebody closes, like, which journey path are they going, right? You know how they have, like, titanium, platinum, gold, silver, right? Look at your clients and understanding what the value of the relationship to, how influential they are, how connected you are, which one of these paths are they going in? And start mapping this out, right? And then we start talking about the next layer, which is campaigning. Every single agent, as far as I'm concerned, should be using Compass digital ads to just run it doesn't even matter what's on the ad. All they have to do is see you. That's it. The average, on one study said the average American adult spends 7 hours a day on their cell phone. So where do we want to be? On their cell phone, right? So here's the other thing. When you're really busy, people don't always refer you. Has anyone had that happen? Like, oh, you're really busy. We didn't think you did that kind of deal. You hear it every day, right? Because unless you work in a corporate company, you're never going to give a busy person more work. But if you're around, like, higher, more affluent people, which we all are here on this call, and they see that you're running ads on social media, they know you want more business. Then now think about this. Lindsay, take all the clients, Thomas, Ben, take all the clients you haven't heard from, start running ads to them. Then when you call them, email them, text message them, especially if you call them like, oh my God, I just saw your ad and was thinking about you. It's amazing that you called. They don't know that you targeted them. And it becomes a multiplier. But if there's three things that every agent wants, it's they want to stay top of mind. They don't want their clients to forget about them. And they want them to think of them when they refer about real estate. And running those ads, you could run, this is like the cheapest spend you can make. It is far less than sending postcards to strangers.
Is it more valuable, do you think, to do them on, I've heard Facebook versus Instagram? But
Depends on where your clients, I wouldn't even get in the weeds of this, right? I would just go to Compass Digital Ads. If your clients are all like 50 plus, they're probably on Facebook, right? If they're under that, but it doesn't really matter because it just targets them. It doesn't matter where they see them. The goal of the ad is an awareness campaign. It's like when a movie's coming out and on like you drive down the West Side Highway and you see big billboards about the movie. You're not going to go watch the movie, but they're just making you aware. So when they have other forms of marketing that happen, you're like, oh, yeah, I just saw that the other day.
yeah, I never use them. Give me an example of a good digital ad.
There is the only good digital ad, for this purpose, Lindsay, is one that you do. It literally could have your photo on it. It could say Compass. This is normally not my stick, but it doesn't matter what the message is.
It's just putting it out there.
Yeah, like I want to know that like when I go on my phone that I see Lindsay Rothman, right? Like, oh wow. And then all of a sudden you're running these ads over the course of a month and you know the group of people you're running ads to, send them a handwritten note. The next month you call them. You're like, oh my God, I saw your ads. Thank you so much for the note. Just want to connect. How are you? Want to grab it? Like, this is how this momentum and multipliers concept works. It's building on the psychology of people, which David will touch upon on the second half of the call, right? This is how you stay in touch with people. Because here's the thing, these relationships that we now have and own are the most valuable things that we have. You know, and in a world where you're going to have to pay for an agent, you want these people to be your biggest advocates because they already use your service and they'll vouch for it. Thomas, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a great, we haven't done any digital ads yet. So yeah, that's something that we'll definitely start today. Sounds like a good idea.
And they're cheap through Compass too, right? They're not expensive.
Yeah, we do it. It's the easiest thing to possibly do when people see them. And you could tag you could do it through your business page and tag your personal page in the ad so everybody sees you, or vice versa.
Chirag, when you were saying you could target certain people, how do you do that on like Instagram or Facebook? You can actually send it directly to certain people, or
you can target people through database. No. I'm talking about just doing this through Compass.
You could do it through Compass, but you could tag your Instagram page. You put your handles in, and it tracks your followers or who you're following. So when we do it through the personal page and tag our business, or vice versa, those people always tell me they see them.
what's better, to do from your personal page or from your team account, maybe?
I would do it from your personal page.
David, what have we done? We do team and we tag our personal.
We do the team and tag our personal pages. So everybody that follows my personal sees it.
Yep.
Got it.
Look, the goal of this, right, and sit down with your AEM and they can explain all these details to you. But look, the goal of this is, right, to Ben's point is, these people see you all the time, and then all the supplemental things you do become more valuable, right? Go back to what I said in the beginning. Yeah, Ben's great to work with. You guys are all great to work with. And even after they bought or sold a home, they still do this, 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 and this. And that is a purposeful set of events and sequence that has to happen for that to take effect. Like Thomas, think about the community page that, right, that you started, right, from the idea that we had in your room. How much of a multiplier is that for your business now?
Yeah, it's honestly revolutionized my business. I have people probably 2-3 times a week come up to me and say, "Oh, it's Living La Cañada." Like some of them won't even know my name. They'll just be like, "Hey, that's Living La Cañada," or at the country club that I'm at. I mean, it really makes you become like the mayor of your town. And La Cañada is smaller, so just like you said, it took less time to take over because it's smaller. So we have like almost 5,000 followers, all unique, and it's all targeted to that demographic. When we look, it's like 37% right from La Cañada. And there's only 20,000 people in the entire city of La Cañada. So, I mean, already in like a year and a half, we have, 25-30% of the entire population.
It's pretty impressive.
And then we're getting ready to launch that other. We did a summer festival last year where we just did a free event. Like 650 people showed up. We got a bunch of sponsors to help offset the cost. So it was really like $1,500 out of my pocket, but it looked like I threw like a $15,000 event and I just paid for everything. So we're getting ready to do that again.
That's awesome.
If any of you want this local blueprint, I'd be happy to share it with you.
So
Lindsay,
best,
we had Lifestyle Westchester, like 20,000 some odd followers when we did it.
Yeah. It was big. When we started, Why Westchester was huge.
Yeah.
Mhm. Right.
But I need to do something like that for, like, now that I'm having an office opening in Cold Spring, like not being set up with the printer and stuff is, one issue. But
Did you buy a printer? Yeah, hopefully you rented one.
no, I mean, no, I was gonna buy one for like $500.
No, don't do that. When you rent it, right? The ink cartridges are the most expensive things. So
Yeah.
you can rent a printer for like $100 a month and get all these prints and stuff. Look into renting one. When I had an office, buying one versus renting one, you'll go poor with those ink cartridges, especially if you print a lot.
All right, good to know. But I need to figure out how we're going to insert ourselves into the community. And we haven't started that yet. So any ideas you have?
Yes, send me a message and let's hop on like a call like this. It'll take 30 minutes. We could build out a list of different things.
Awesome.
Like the thing about Thomas is we sat in a room, right? We mapped out a whole plan and he just did the whole plan and he has the patience and time for it to take effect.
Well, I mean, it's the single greatest idea that I've put into my business. And I think, I personally don't have the time to do, go to the different businesses and edit the videos and do all this other stuff. So Lindsay, I think the biggest thing for me was to have somebody, I mean, he's like 23 years old. He knows all about the Instagram algorithms, when to post, when to skip a post. And he has the time to go out to these businesses and chop up these reels. And then really we just started just promoting outward, just promoting every business. And it works on two levels because you start to, make these connections with these strategic alliances with the business owners. And then it also provides a lot of value to the community. So I think it's really important to find an intern or somebody else that, has the time to do it. Because if you try to, if I tried to wait till I had time to do it, I would never have done it.
I think
So
that's
to have like
an issue. Years. Sorry, the garbage truck's coming.
Yeah. So yeah, I think an intern or somebody else that you can kind of exchange your intellectual capital, somebody that wants to learn about real estate, for somebody that has time to, go out to the businesses and make those connections. It is good to have you in front of the camera. I will say that like the more you're in front of the camera, the better. So, Chirag always said, make time for that. So we're trying to get back more to that. Interviews with principals and coaches and, business owners, stuff like that.
I'll leave you with this last thought, and then I want David to jump into like the human psychology of this, is that, look, if I were you, Lindsay, I would go and try to interview every school principal, right? And, one of the things like long form content is like really coming back. And you want it, like, if you look where you are in like Northern Westchester, all those small towns, they're not like really savvy marketers like you, right? So you'll want to own all the YouTube searches for when people look up anything about the community, right? So that like making video, interviewing principals, like we could go through, you just have to put the time in to do it. But like, this is what they call evergreen content, right? You make it once and it lives forever. And then you could start thinking about how you multi-purpose this stuff into different areas.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, listen, for all of you that are local, let's plan a day. Why don't you all come up here for a day and we could talk some shop, get the karaoke going, have some drinks. So I will put it in the mastermind thread. And look, I know Allison wants to set up something bigger for everybody, but for all of you that are close, like once a month, just come up here. Like David and I'll be here and we can do something fun together.
Lindsay, let's take a trip up there one day. Is there going to be a retreat, or what did you decide on that?
Well, we need all of you to decide where you guys actually really want to go and come. I'm thinking based on the fact that we tried doing it internationally twice and no one wanted to go, that we're just going to do another one here. It seems to be easier. People liked it. There's a lot of different stuff we can do, especially with it being nice. So we just have to find dates that work for everybody with the summer and the Compass Retreat in Charleston coming up.
Yeah.
Retreats personally for us are our favorite thing. Those are like my 3 favorite days of
For sure.
all right, I have to jump into another call, but
Yeah.
David will continue, and somebody needs to gather the dates from the group that we can actually do this and that everyone actually wants to come, and then we'll do the other production part.
All right, I'm jumping off too, guys. I have a listing appointment to get to. I will speak to you guys soon.
All right. See you,
Good luck,
Ben.
Ben. Thanks,
All right.
Chirag.
Good one, guys.
We have opening notes with Julie. Sorry, David.
All right. No worries.
I swear. But
No worries. No, it's all good. I know you got stuff going on.
don't take
So
my honor off. I
glad we
think-
could connect.
Yes, you too. Bye.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Yep.
Bye,
Bye.
Lindsay.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Gretchen. So Thomas, does it make sense for us to keep talking, or are you kind of on your way to do other
Yeah.
stuff?
No, I'm good for another like maybe 15 minutes. So
I'm curious, what is it that you think is most effective in what you're doing with the local stuff there? I mean, how do you explain the payback, the ROI you've gotten on that?
yeah, I mean, some of it is, we have gotten business from it, but I'm thinking much bigger than that, it's really kind of solidified myself as, the go-to person for everything
Yep.
La Cañada and the surrounding area. So,
Yep.
from a brand awareness, I mean, everybody, people have said it to me, but I just feel it that, the brand awareness has gone to a different level since I did that. Like I am on the back of the newspaper, the local newspaper. I pay like quite a bit, like 60,000 a year for that.
Yep.
And it's, they say, print advertising's dead, but in that case, everybody reads this newspaper. It goes to 99% of residents and like 37, different businesses and all that.
Yep.
And so it's, it's got the kids, sports and, local events and stuff like that. So everybody reads it. So that I'm not saying that, the local living La Cañada is the only thing. Like you really have to have other factors, just like Chirag was
Yep.
saying with the, billboards and we have the sanitizer station at the local grocery store, stuff like that for just brand.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think we've been really active on the stories, the Instagram stories. So
Yeah.
we're constantly, just because they're only on for 24 hours, we're constantly, advertising other people.
Yeah.
We're very sensitive about the fact that we don't want to just be like promoting ourselves.
Yeah.
And, what we realize is that people do really care about, what listings are out there, even if they're not ours, and, what activity, for real estate's happening. And then, they're able to kind of see their value and everything out there. So, we kind of sprinkle in some real estate news, every month we do like a, local market report. And so we kind of sprinkle in the real estate, and every once in a while we'll put like a video of ours in there just so they can kind of connect the dots that, we're the real estate experts, but we're also out there. The majority, probably 90% of it, we're promoting other people.
Yeah, for sure. One of the advantages to doing this, and I'm surprised more agents don't do it, honestly, because You know, even if somebody doesn't know you the first time they see it, they may know the restaurant or they may know the store. And that immediately draws them into whatever the video is. Even if they're not a big customer, they know it, they can see it, they recognize what it is, and then they see your face or they hear your name or something about that. And that association has value. And, you know, one way to see that you're actually winning is when people see you for something bigger than what your service is. And this is something that I think is overlooked by a lot of agents. They think, okay, I'm an agent. Yeah, I'll recommend a new restaurant to my clients or something. But as we were saying earlier, once the person's no longer your client, somehow that's kind of off the table. You know, the relationship has been defined as I'm here to serve you from the day you say yes to the day of the closing. And then that's it. You're out of my life and I'm out of yours. But, you know, reorienting your relationship to anybody through your direct contact with a client or through videos like this is saying, I'm a member of this community and I have something to offer. And here's the information on the video that I have to offer about a new restaurant or a new store or something like that, and the value that they offer. That's contribution. And, you know, when we say redefine your relationship with somebody after the deal is closed or before the deal is closed and it carries into after that period, what we're saying is you need to find a way to provide value to those people, to provide some kind of a contribution. And so this is a no-brainer. I'm surprised more people aren't doing it.
I honestly think like people like Lindsay, like they want to do it.
Yep.
I think a lot of people want to do it, but they just don't have the bandwidth because, you know, you're in your business. And I was the same way. There's no way, you know, if I basically have like a full-time social media director who kind of, you know, curates all these videos and like sets up the interviews and all that stuff. There's no way, because it's like a full-time job pretty much.
Yeah, sure.
So you almost need, you know, and then I have a couple interns that come back that I coached basketball that come back for college, and they're just kind of runners. They can help Dave, you know, because sometimes filming by yourself is tough too. So sometimes you need another person to hold the pizza box a certain way, or, you know, to get some other angles or, you know, whatever it is. So, you know, you almost need somebody like that that's running it, and then to have a couple helpers too, like, you know, just, you know, college interns or whatever that are either just doing it for the experience or you pay, you know, give them bonuses or whatever. But I think that's the big key that that would unlock a lot for a lot of people. And we kind of have, I mean, we have the blueprint for it. I mean, we've really done it. And Dave is just like a social media savant. I mean, he's really, I mean, he's grown another page that I have almost to 210,000 followers. And
wow, it's great.
You know, Conor McGregor, Kim Kardashian. I mean, we have like thousands of athletes that follow us. And so he's really has a gift for it. And so it's hard to find somebody like that. But you know, once you find somebody that can dedicate the time, it's two things. It's dedicating the time and really having a really good knowledge of Instagram and how it works. Because you just can't just throw any video on there and then expect good things to happen, because he does it in a way where they're very quick hitting and, you know, pairs it right with music. There's an art to it for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And from my point of view, that's money well spent. You know, yes, there is some cost involved, but to have the right person to be presenting and packaging that and putting it all together so it's out there is worth it, because it's a huge time saver. And, you know, having that person who can shoot some videos with you, I mean, maybe you do a couple on your own, you do some when somebody else is there to hold the pizza box. It's not impossible to do. It's not that difficult. And from my point of view, you know, you can punch way above your weight. You know, if you're going into a new area, nobody knows who you are and you're going up against established agents, you know, you do something like this and suddenly everybody's like, oh, I know this person. You know, it's like you can short circuit 3 years of people getting to know you to, you know, 3 months or 6 months of videos.
If I ever had to relocate, which I don't anticipate ever doing that, but I was always worried that what happens if I had to move back to Chicago or whatever, and, you know, I'd basically be starting from scratch. Like, this would be the very first thing I would do. Like, anytime starting in a new, because you're right, you literally jump the line, because even somebody that sold real estate for 30 years there, and I know somebody in La Cañada that does that, they don't do anything like this. And so all of a sudden you're the neighborhood expert. You're the one showing, again, it doesn't even have to be your listings. A lot of times, like, there'll be like a nice mid-century modern and it's the hottest listing in town. And we go to the open house, we shoot a reel, and then we, post that or whatever. And all of a sudden you're the expert on real estate. So
Yep.
yeah, I agree with you on that.
Well, it just shows that there's so many ways to be successful, and there's so many ways that we choose not to utilize. And sometimes it's to our own detriment. Everybody says, well, I'm afraid to get on video. I don't know anything about it. So many people are being held back. And sometimes finding that right person who can help you make that leap to make sure that it gets done right or done well is all you need. And it opens up a whole new world.
Yeah. And I think, so I think the first thing would be to try to find that person, because trying to even start it by yourself is you're just going to get frustrated and it's not going to be consistent. So like, I would say the first thing to do is to find that person and make sure that that's the right person. And maybe you go through trial and error a little bit, and but find that right person, and then like hit the ground running. And when we met with Chirag, I told him, I told Dave, who's my social media guy, I said, let's build up some content first. So, let's get the handle, the Instagram handle, but I don't want to do this halfway. So, anything we're going to go in full guns. And, so we had a bunch of content ready to go so that it would gain traction. So,
Yep. That's what most people advise. Get a bunch out, get a bunch ready in the can, ready to go, and then release it. So there's more than just one or two.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had a question for you, David. Have you guys worked with homes.com at all, or are you familiar with like kind of what they're offering, or,
Yeah, we have not really done anything with them, so I can't really give you any advice on it. What's behind your question?
No, just in case you run across it or whatever. I mean, they try, I signed up for their commercial side, the CoStar, because I have a apartment building that I'm getting ready to list. So, and they were pushing this homes.com, and, if you type in La Cañada, there's only about 4 people that you can see are like premium members or whatever. And they pop up right at the top. And even if they've only sold one house in La Cañada,
I see.
They show up there. So, it's not great when you see your name and, I have, the majority of the market share there, like one of the top 3 at least.
Yep.
And, I'm down at, middle of the first page or bottom of the first page or whatever. And it's like $1,000 a month. And, we pay for so many other different things. It's hard to know when to stop and know when to, pay for stuff. But I was just curious to see if it's a worthwhile thing. They're saying that, and they have invested a lot of money. They had a Super Bowl ad, and like they are starting to get out there a little bit more, but I just don't see them overtaking like Redfin or Zillow. Whenever I get a link, I mean, obviously we try to get them onto the Compass portal, but there are people that will just send it from like Zillow or Redfin.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are the top 2. The search engine, whenever you type in an address, those are the top 2.
Yeah.
And they're trying to say that they overtook realtor.com. And I was just curious to see if it's worth it.
Well, I haven't heard. And for anybody who's watching this after the call, if you've had some experience with them, reach out to Thomas and share it. But I'll check in with Chirag and see if we've got any other stories from people who've been doing it and how it's worked out for them.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else on your mind?
No, I think that's good for now. It's very helpful.
All right, cool. All right. Well, listen, good seeing you today, and we'll talk again on the next call. And I'll get back to you on the home stuff if Chirag has any more insight into it.
Okay. Thanks a lot, David. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one, Thomas.
All right. You too.
All right. See you. Bye-bye.